Coaches need to say words, think of strategies, stories, some sort of thing to set the tone, maybe get them refocused, look at an individual who's way off base and say, hey, you got to get yourself ready to go, or calm down, relax, you're way too nervous, or whatever. You've got to read that, but they also have to have a part of it. I mean, it's, because at the end of the day, the motivation that really drives people is internal. And coaches can always spark them, and that's your job, is to figure out what do they need to hear. What's going to get them to unite together and play together and work for a common cause. And it's different on each day. It depends on the game, where you're at, the mood, what's at stake. You've got to think about all things. But the players have to have some responsibility. And I think that the mental prep part is kind of what they need to be doing under each thing. So we'll meet 90 minutes. Obviously the players need to start to get in check with what the game plan is, see what their body is feeling like, too nervous, too relaxed. We make that meeting, and usually, like I said, this is fairly close to what we do, 10 minutes at the most, a brief review of game tactics, who needs to match up where, and I put in a sample slide, the second page of your handout. It's kind of a slide, a PowerPoint slide of what we would show the players, what we would tell the players. So we put up our system, play in there, how the opponent's going to play. I think the slide's UCLA.
Yeah.
We put in our team against their team, what are the matchups, a couple of defensive reminders, a couple of attacking reminders. And, just so that they get to, you can overdo it in that area, because obviously, hopefully your training and your prep for the week gets them ready. You don't want to go over, it's not a crash course 90 minutes before the game, because you're going to overload them, but obviously some reminders are important. And then we'll walk out, we'll give them final 25 minutes to get themselves dressed, taped, whatever it is they need to do, some individual time with some music. And at this point, they need to be starting to, after you give them the game plan, kind of visualize, okay, what's their role today? Even if they're a sub, if I come in, where am I going to be at with this game? A lot of them will listen to the appropriate music. For some of them, like to be calm, relaxed, chill, as they call it. Some of them need to be, like more amp music, and that kind of goes down to what the individual wants. And I think you need to make sure your players know. I think it's important. Be aware of what state you are. It just comes down to their personalities. Some are more high-strung, A-type. Some are more super relaxed. Each player needs different things. About yeah, I think a lot of the guys, iPods, but in our locker room, for certain, there's a team thing going on, a team music. A lot of them will put together game day CDs, not only for the pregame, when you're out on the field, if you have that capability within your stadiums or whatever, but even in the locker room, a lot of them will put together a pregame CD that everyone likes music. So I think it's important. I think music is a big thing to get players ready. Obviously, that's why a lot of kids have iPod and stuff. 55 minutes before, we walk down to the field, and again, this is where you start to come in more, more narrowly focused. Obviously, once you leave the locker room, or once you leave your space, and you're starting to head towards where you're going to go play. It's not it's a lot more tight, I would think. We try to begin our warm-up, and we give them some time on their own, but about 12, 20, especially if we're going to, and it depends. If you're going to come in and dress, you can go back in the locker room or whatever. Some coaches like to get out early, get done early, and take some time, give them 10 minutes before they kick off. Other coaches, and it's more our style, is we kind of get done 5 minutes before, quick change of the tops, a few words, and then get, introductions start. Like at UCLA, they start really early, and then get done and go away for 15 minutes and come back out and kick off. So there's different ways. I think ideally, you want to give yourself about 30 minutes to warm up. I think that's enough. You start doing 45, 50-minute warm-ups. And again, there's differences. We went and played St. John's out in New York in 2004. Those guys warm up for an hour. We're kicking off at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock they're up, and they're running a training session. They got 3 groups going on, and they beat us. So, they're all different sorts of things. I think it's way too much, but hey, that's just an opinion. I think 30 minutes is about what you would need to get most players ready to play. And obviously, the individual has to start using these to really focus. getting locked on what the ball's doing, focus on the communication with teammates, how's their body feeling. That's an important one. Markable players, what do you do on your bad days? What do you do when you feel like, how am I going to do this today? And, find a little strategy that can get them through it. End of the warm-up about 12:50, players change their tops, last minute prep. And, this is where players really start to come down and get locked into what they're doing, visualization, some breathing to relax themselves, like I said, long, slow breaths. If they need to relax, if they need to energize, maybe some quick, deep breaths. Get their intensity focused and kind of get in that moment, kind of get in that zone, as you maybe have heard. And then 12:58, we bring them in, one more time, have them commit to the game plan, some encouragement, and kick off. Hopefully your team's walking out there with a good body language, shoulders out, some sweat, ready to go and compete. Because there's just two parts of the warm-up. There's the physical part, which is down to what you do. What do you have to do? And I'll address what we do in our warm-up. And then there's obviously the mental part. And that comes 90 minutes before, some individual encouragement, a last-minute word. That's kind of where you try to figure out what your team needs to hear for the day. And like I said, the first thing I started off, the key thing to remember is your pregame prep always starts with what time you kick off. From there, you want to work backwards to establish what your preparation is going to be. Okay, so here's kind of what we do. Coach and I go back and forth. I like to go 90 minutes before, he likes to go 75. So I think it gives us more time. I think sometimes we get rushed when we only do 75, so I keep working on it. We vary it though. But I use the 90 minutes because it's my presentation. So, this is for a 7 o'clock kickoff. Again, 5:30. We try to have the kid out there. Everything's laid out. They walk in, arrive, they go to Melissa, our trainer, get taped, do their thing. We'll come in 15, so everyone needs to be there at 5:30. All right. 5:45, we'll come in, a brief review of some game tactics, reminders from the coaching staff, which comes down to that. And this year we rotated that voice. That's one thing to think about. If you have an assistant or a JV coach or someone else, sometimes let them say it. We try to, it's important because obviously the same voice all the time, anyone that does that can get monotonous. So Rich, myself, and Dean rotated who gave the pregame meeting. The information a lot of times is the same, but even just a different voice or a different way of saying it can maybe help your players lock on a little bit better. And then we would leave after that. So that was about 10 minutes, about 5:55 we would leave, let the guys have their time for their own preparation. And then Dean would always come back right before we're going to walk down and give some motivational words. And I think the biggest thing is you try to give them common cause to come together for them to come together and go out and play. And what that is depends on the day. Depends on who you're playing. Is it a league championship game? Is it an opening game? Is it the first time you've ever played this team? Is it the last time they smoked us? Last time we smoked them? I mean, all these things go into what are they thinking about, their opponent. And that's up for you to decide and figure out what your situation is. But I think, the common cause and something that you can go out and fight for. I think that's kind of how you have to think in terms of what do they need to hear? What is this game about? And then 6:10 we walk down to the game field. This year, and this was a change. I do the warm-ups in terms of the physical, here's what we do, possession, that sort of thing. Dean helps out a little bit, Rich does the goalkeepers, but I do get the field guys ready. And, we recognize, and I recognize, every player's got to get ready differently. And we try to give them their space, but I really think that at our level, where a lot of it's about winning, we're here to win. Basically, bottom line, we're here to win. And we're not all in those same environments. I coach youth soccer, and it's not all about winning there. They got to get better as players. In high school, it's not necessarily all about that, but we all want to win. And even at U12, I say, hey, we're out here to compete. We keep score. Why do you think we keep score? We're trying to win. My opinion is anyone that doesn't think that, part of that development is we want to try to get them to win. And we're not going to do it every time. We understand that. But there's nothing wrong with having your players want to win and be competitive and learn how to win, because I think that's part of the